Hey, happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's doing good today. I wanted to pop on and kind of have a conversation with everybody out there. I like to make videos because then my people can repurpose the videos. But I was talking to a client today and the conversation about interest rates came up. Now, I know this has been on the top of minds of everyone who's buying and selling houses in the last, I don't know, 90, 120 days. So I want to kind of talk you guys through some ways that you can get around the higher interest rates. I want to talk through what's really going on with these interest rates, with the economy, with the housing market. And if anything, I want to put your mind at ease. And if you're a realtor out there or you're on my team, share this out. Okay. I've got some good tips. So let's start with the fact that in 1981, interest rates were at 18.45%. 18.5% in 1990 or 1981. So that tells you that like we can go from 3% to 18.5% in this country. It also shows you that we have got the tenacity, that we've got the grit to be able to recover from these higher interest rates. Now, we're nowhere near that today. And believe it or not, we're closer to what a national average is. And so I went through, I'm not going to bore you with the details. I just wanted the details for me. What were the interest rates in the 80s, in the 90s, in 2000, and in 2010, 12, and all of that, like when rates started, because rates, when I first got in the mortgage business, and what makes me an authority on this is that in 19, God, I'm going to date myself here, 1998, I got into the mortgage business and I did very well in the mortgage business. And then in 1999, I started my first mortgage company and then rolled it into what today is Austin Mortgage Associates. Hello, Tyler. You should love this message. Okay. And so, back then, guys and gals, interest rates were, I don't know, 6, 7, 8%. And nobody said anything. Like, right? Like if they needed to buy a house or sell a house, that's what they did. They'd come to us, they would do a loan and go on down the road. But you know what I say about the media. And the media's got this thing so overblown, so politicized, so everything that it's absolutely got people at a standstill. And I want to get you unstuck because this is what I'm going to tell you. Before I get into what to do and how to get a lower interest rate, I want to tell you this. There are some of the most amazing opportunities on the planet right now when it comes to buying and selling real estate. All right. This hot market that we had during COVID, like when we went into COVID, we thought, oh God, like we're never going to sell anything ever again. We're going to hoard toilet paper. And like, guess what? We came out of it. And then the market heated up, right? Because there were more people because interest rates were low. So here's what happened. Interest rates dropped, right? The feds wanted to spur the economy. So rates dropped. So what happens when rates drop? Well, people were like, oh, especially if you lived in a state that was on lockdown. I'm going to move to Texas, Arizona, or Florida. I'm going to get the hell out of this other state. I won't say any names, but you know who they are. And so we're going to move. Rates are low. And they did not care about the fact that prices were going like this, right? And why were they going up? Because it was supply and demand, right? When you have more demand than you have supply, that is what causes competition. That's what causes bidding wars. And so people just got into this frenzy, right? They were coming to Texas, they were coming to Florida, they were coming to Arizona. And so with all of that being said, all of a sudden you had this just massive demand. Now you couple that with, the demand on the resale market. What happened there? Builders had to quit building houses because of supply chain problems. So the builders stopped building, and about 40% of homes that are bought and sold are new construction. So you wiped out the new construction. Okay, you wiped it out because of supply chain issues, right? And you put enormous demand on states like California, not California, they were leaving California, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. So giant demand on that, giant demand on our inventories. Then you have another bucket sitting over here where the people that would have maybe sold their house, they were terrified. They were paralyzed over this pandemic. So they didn't want people in their house. So the people that were willing to sell, there was a lot less of them than people that would have actually gone on the market. So share this out, guys. Share this out, because anybody who's in the real estate business, anybody who's in the mortgage business, I got your back on this one. I'm trying to make it make sense. I had a long talk with a client of mine today. I think we're going to go on the market. But she's so concerned because she's giving up a 4% interest rate on the home that she's got, but she's going to have to go into a 6% interest rate. Okay. And I want to give you some perspective on that, right? So of course I called my husband, the mortgage banker, hint, hint, if anyone needs a loan. And I said, give me, what is the payment difference at 4, 5, and 6% at $500,000? Because that is how much my client's going to finance, is $500,000. At 4%, the principal and interest is $2,387. At 5%, and I don't even know why I put 5 in there, I'm just curious, $2,684. And at 6%, $2,998. So let's just round it up to $3,000. So, and let's round the 4% to $2,400. Okay. So it's a $600 payment difference. Now, I am not discounting what $600 looks like. That's a lot of money in somebody's budget. But let me ask you this. Would you pay $600 more a month on your mortgage to be able to buy a house 50 to 75 of this magnitude, $50 to $75,000 less, okay, less than what you could have purchased it for a year ago? So I'm just going to do some simple math, and I'm just kind of taking you through the conversation I had with my client. And I love this person, and this person's a wonderful human being. But if you take $75,000 and you divide it by $600, it would take you 125 months divided by 12. Oops. 125 months divided 125 divided by 12. That would take you 10.4 years, okay, to recoup that money. Now, I'm going to tell you, these interest rates are not going to sit at 6.5%, which people are not that high, because I'm taking you back to my original statement I opened up with in 1981. Rates were 18.45%. So buying a house today at a 2% higher interest rate, okay, at a $500,000 loan amount is $600 difference. Okay. And so if you could buy a house for $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 less than what you could have bought it for at a 3 or 4% interest rate, and knowing the recoup time will be anywhere from 5 to 10 years. So what does that mean? That means you're paying less principal for the house, right? The asset. You're acquiring the asset, the home, for less money. All right? That's a win. Interest rates will not stay at this forever. And they won't stay there for 5 years, and they won't, there'll be a war, there'll be an election, there'll be a terrorist attack. Like, I hate to be so flippant about it, but that is what drives down rates, right? Is when a lot of these things occur. Other things drive down rates too. So don't start hating on me about that. I own a mortgage company. I know what I'm talking about. But I can tell you, I will never forget, after 9/11, I was in the mortgage business. It was my son's 10th birthday. I canceled his birthday party. Like, I'm devastated. I am devastated for our country. I'm devastated for New York. I'm just devastated. And I thought, oh my, and I remember us going out on our boat on Lake Travis. That was probably the next day, because we took our son to Peter Piper Pizza, or whatever it was called, in Round Rock. Nobody was there but us. I'm crying. Everybody who's working there is giving him every toy. There is, okay, a Facebook user. I don't even know who you are, but who is they say interest rates will go to 10? Who is they? Please tell me who they is. Okay, I've got 25 years in this. All right. I think I know a little bit more than they do. So anyways, all of that being said, rates were probably hovering about 6%, 6.5%. I don't know. They were in the 6 or 7s. I know that. And boom, 9/11 hits. And within a month or two, rates were down under 3%. My husband and I refinanced our house at 10 years at like 2%. It helps to own a mortgage company. You get a little bit better deal, but not that much of a better deal. Anyways, so, all of that being said, right? Like, anything can happen. So when you are renting a house, All right. When you're renting a house, your rate is 100%. 100%. So renting's not a good option because what's happening right now, and I work with a lot of investors and I'm telling them to buy investment properties because we can jack the rates, the rents. Okay. But I'm not going down that road today. I digress. Let me get back to interest rates. Anyways, so yes, I know I'm right what interest rates were. In 2008, it was 16 or 17. And in 1981, it was 18.45. I know, I get it. Like, right? Like 2008, though, no, it was not 16 or 17%. That's not right. I was in the mortgage business then. Anyways, I digress again. So are you better off? Here's the $1,000,000 question. This is the conversation today I had with my client. Are you better off? Okay. Her situation, they need to downsize. Okay. They're sitting in a big house with a lot of equity. All right. There's just two of them left. Like this is what James and I did a year ago. I was living in a giant house in a gated neighborhood. And it was like, we don't need all this house. We live in 3 rooms. Plus, we're too far away from our 3 grandkids, right? There are times in life that you need to sell. And my clients have a lot of equity in this house. Now, will they sell it for what they did at the height? No, they won't. But she's so hung on, but we have a 3.75 interest rate. And if we decide to finance a house again, then we're going to have to pay a 6% interest rate. Now, I understand that the struggle is real. All right. But there's a couple of things with that interest rate. Okay. Number one, it's tax deductible on your mortgage rate. And this isn't even where I'm going with my list. You guys know me, I digress at all times. But that interest rate is deductible. So let's just say you're at a 28% tax bracket. 28% of the interest that you pay in, you're going to get back on your taxes. Okay. So there's that. So that probably brings your net effective rate down at least a point. I don't know, maybe more than a point, but let's just say a point for fun. All right. But you're able to acquire a property right now for less money than you could have before. So you can stay where you're at, okay, and stay in a house that's too big for you. And what does that mean? Like for us, like our property taxes were well over $20,000 a year in our other house. And I was like, we don't even need all this house. And it's too far away from my grandkids and all this. So let's go buy a house that's more suited to what we need today in our life, closer to family. Oh, and can we cut that tax bill in half? That happened. So it is better to downsize. So if you're living in a house that's too big for you and you're paying higher utility bills, you're paying higher tax bills, you're paying higher insurance bills, but your only worry is about transitioning into something because it has a little bit higher interest rate, like don't do that. Okay. I love what Tyler said up here in the comments. Turn off the television. God, I mean, there's a reason, y'all, that we have a 24-hour news cycle. Share this out, share this out, share this out. Oh, okay. Facebook user again. Experts say going up in a year. Experts. Oh, God. Please do not tell me anybody in the media is an expert on anything at all. Okay. Anyways, I digress. So why would you not want to downsize if it's time to downsize? Yes, you might pay a higher interest rate. I'm here to tell you, to testify that is true. But what are the benefits of it, right? What are the benefits of downsizing? Pulling your equity, paying off debt, having a lower tax base, having lower insurance, having lower utility bills, having lower stress in general. That's what we did, lower stress in general. So anyways, knowing all of that, okay, there is a $600 a month difference from where rates were to where rates are today if you're financing $500,000, which is about, the average in my area of what you're going to have to finance to buy a decent home. Okay. So there's $600, but you can buy that house today. Let's just say that it's $50,000 lower. And that's not overblowing it. 50,000 divided by 600 equals, it would take you 83 months to recoup that money. Take the equity every single time. Buy the house at the lowest price you could buy it. That's always I mean, when I was in the car business, when for the used car department, it was always about, you make your money at acquisition. When you buy a house, you make your money at acquisition, not what you sell it for. Okay. So here are some things that you can do. I wrote down 8 things that you can do to try to get a lower interest rate if you're out in the market today. All right. Number 1, do a buy down rate with seller concession. So what does that mean? That means you ask the seller to pay the buy down fee. Instead of taking a discount on the house, have them pay a buy down. All right. Number 2, consider an adjustable rate mortgage. Oh, I used to be the queen of these things. Oh my God, I did so many. I was big time in the luxury market when I was in a mortgage banker, and so I did all kinds of adjustable rate mortgages. Right, a coffee loan, a LIBOR loan. I don't think those are available today, but you do have your 3-1, your 5-1, and your 7-1 buy downs that are still out there. It might save you a half a point, 3/4 of a point. Who knows? Hey, but money's money. Number 3, shorten the term of your mortgage. Take a 15-year mortgage. Rates are lower at 15 years. Another great option is a 20-year mortgage. You don't necessarily get a lower interest rate, but you're paying more towards your principal every month. And so, James and I personally have always liked 20-year mortgages when we had a mortgage. Number 4, 2-1 buy down. 2-1 buy down. Really, really, it's like coming back. It's kind of like the 80s or something, the music that comes back. So the 2-1 buy down was really, really a hot deal back when I was in the mortgage business. So what that means is that, like, let's pretend the rate today is 6.5%. And I'm just making that up. I have no idea. Tyler, shoot me what the interest rates are today, babe. Let's just say it's 6.5%. You start at 4.5% for year 1. Year 2, you go to 5.5%. Year 3, it caps out at 6.5%. There's a couple of things on this, though, you need to know. You have to qualify at the highest rate, meaning, your debt ratio has to work at the 6.5%. And the 2-1 buy down is pretty expensive. We looked at it on a listing of mine that was $900,000, and it looks like the buy down was about $17,000, right? Okay, so $17,000. Ask the seller to pay the 17 grand, right? I'm telling you, we can ride this thing out. I don't care what the experts say. I'm older than most of those experts. I'm doing it longer. We will come through this. Remember, it's going to be something, unfortunately, that happens bad. Pandemic. There'll be another election. I mean, there are just going to be things that are going to get this back in line on these interest rates. They cannot bring the economy to a screeching halt when it comes to real estate. I mean, they're trying their damnedest over this inflation thing. I get it, but real estate is, the most important sector in our economy when it comes to the American consumer. All right. Let's see. So I was at 2-1 buy down. Great option. Ask the seller to pay it. Make a larger down payment. That's a novel idea. Finance less, put more down. Cash is trash sitting in a bank right now. Don't let it sit in the bank. It's making no money and it's deflating. Like the valuation of the dollar is down 40% in the last 2 years since we've been printing money. So go ahead and put it into your home. That's a safe place to put it because your home will appreciate, at least in my market, 12 to 15%. 12 to 15%. So stick it in the house, get the lower interest rate, right? Not lower interest rate, but get the lower payment. Work with a mortgage broker, not a banker and not a bank. I was a mortgage broker. My husband's a mortgage broker. My friend Michael Tyler on here represents a mortgage broker. Mortgage bankers only got one thing to sell you, people. One thing, right? You want to work with somebody who can go out and shop the loan programs, because on any given day, different investors might have a little bit, like it isn't going to be a big deal. Promise you, it'll be 1/4 of a point one way or the other, but every little bit counts, right? I'm just trying to help you guys and gals. Improve your credit score. That's a biggie. Find out what your credit score is, because everything has to do with tiered pricing now. So if you're a 700 and below, you're going to get a worse interest rate than if you're 700 or 720, I think, and above, right? So work on that credit score. So again, every little bit counts. And then number 8, and this one's super interesting to me. It's not interesting, but I just did a deal like this. So follow me on this one. You want to see if the seller's interest rate is assumable. Okay. So most conventional loans have a due on sale clause, meaning they are not assumable. Due, meaning you sell the house, the loan is due. Due on sale clause, all right, for a conventional loan. But on FHA and VA, most of these loans, and I've done all the research on this today, most of these loans are assumable. You have to qualify. In the old days, you didn't have to qualify for an FHA assumable loan. You just went and signed your name and the seller was on the hook and it was glory days. But today you have to qualify, okay? And the seller may or may not have to stay on the hook. But here's an interesting one. For VA, so follow this story. I had a client that I sold out in Rough Hollow, and they were coming in from out of state, and they had a VA loan. A non-veteran was able to assume their loan. And why did, so every house in their neighborhood was sitting, just sitting, okay? But they had a 3% interest rate. So they put it in the MLS that their rate was assumable, even for a non-veteran. And their house sold in one day, and they're here. I mean, I've closed them. It's a real deal. And they're here. And so they went in and the buyers assumed their VA loan. Now, what is the downfall to that? He was not able to use the VA to buy the new house, but he didn't need to because he had a lot of equity in the old house. Okay. So, you do give up your VA benefit, but it was not going to be, or part of your VA benefit, but he is not liable for it. So he was able to get a release of liability, which is also possible. So potentially on the govies, which is the FHA and the VA loans, there is some assumability, but follow me on this. You buy the house for 200,000, or the house is listed for 200 grand and they only owe 100 grand. Well, you have to make up the difference, right? Somebody has to pay the seller their equity, and it cannot be done in the form of a second lien, right? By like a second loan. So, I mean, those are some of my ideas, but I'm going to go back to the fact that if you're renting, interest is 100%. You're paying the other guy's mortgage. That's what you're doing. And I see people that go in, they're like, I'm just going to rent. Just going to rent. Oh God, it kills me. Because I'm going to wait for, number one, the bottom of the market. Oh, okay. How did that work out for everybody? Did anybody know what the high was or the bottom was in the last 2 years? No. Nope. It's a lie. Anybody who says they did, they're lying. Or they're just clueless. One of the two. So I'm going to wait for the bottom of the market so that I can go in and scoop up a house cheap. Oh, okay. And then also I'm going to wait until interest rates drop. So I'm going to get a house super cheap because the market's going to fall apart. And when interest rates drop, okay, that's not going to happen, because when interest rates drop, house prices go up. Understand me when I say this to you. When the interest rates drop, house prices skyrocket. So it's one or the other, people. It's one or the other. But right now, we have the opportunity to be able to buy a home at a price that was pre-pandemic. And if anybody says to me the market in Central Texas is going to crash, you're crazy, because people are still moving to our town, and people are still moving to Arizona, Texas, and Florida. Florida, maybe not today, and my prayers and thoughts are with everybody in Florida right now. But they're very, very business-friendly states to do business in. No income tax. Like Texas is the greatest state in the world. So people are still going to come here. So we're not going to see a crash. I mean, especially in Texas. I mean, we're going to see, we've seen some correction, but we always have a soft landing here. And I'm not being arrogant about that. I'm just telling you, it is what it is, right? So the greatest time in the world is when rates are sitting at 6 and 6.5%. There are deals everywhere. Like, guys, like I can't even tell you some of the deals I've gotten my clients into. I'm busier right now than I've ever been with buyers, and I'm super happy about that, right? Because now I can go in, I can negotiate, I can get deals done. I don't have 25 other contracts I'm worried about, like the different angle I've got to go in at. You don't have to do that. You don't. Every once in a while, I mean, we're in multiple offers on a couple things, but when I say multiple, two offers, okay? I can play that game all day long. I could play the 22 offer game, but I hated it. But who hated it more than me was my poor clients. There's so much buyer fatigue out there right now, because people were just like, I mean, oh my God, just several people that I had, they're like, I'm dropping out. I'm not playing this. I can't do it. It's not good for my nerves. Like, it's so disappointing. I don't want to get my heart set on it. Like, oh my gosh, it was absolutely heartbreaking for some of these clients of mine. And it was very stressful for my sellers. Who do I pick? What do I do? Da, 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 da. Right. So, there's always something to the game. There's always something to the game. But I'm telling you right now, there is an opportunity to come in and buy property in the great state of Texas and actually be able to purchase it at pre-pandemic prices. And I say it that way because there's no crash here. I mean, there's just some sanity back in the market. There's no crash. We're good here in Texas. We're always going to be good here in Texas. But you can buy a house, but I've literally had people say to me, I'm going to wait and I'm going to rent and I'm going to watch the market. Okay, when you're renting, you're paying that investor, might have even been one of my investors. You're paying that investor's mortgage for him or her. And him or her are sitting back laughing at you going, sucker, you know what? This is exactly like this is the greatest time for real estate investors right now. Greatest time. You guys see some of the stuff I've sold lately. It's all been to real estate investors. They're coming in here and they're saying, you know what? People are scared. People are going to rent. People are frozen. They're not going to buy anything. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to pay my mortgage instead of their own mortgage. People, please hear what I am saying to you. Please hear what I'm saying to you. If you need to downsize, do it. It's cheaper to have a higher interest rate than it is to pay higher taxes, utilities, live in square footage that you don't need. You're better off cashing out of your equity now, paying off debt, doing whatever, going on vacation, living stress-free, right? You can get into a smaller house for less money a month. You're going to have a lower tax bill, lower utility bill, lower insurance bill. You're going to just be breathing as we, are going to have to negotiate some shifting waters. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the country's heading into, I don't know, quasi recession. I don't know. I don't even like to say it out loud. I don't trust anybody that says anything to me unless I do my own research. And I certainly don't trust the press, and I don't trust anyways, I'll stop there. So that being said, don't sit on the sidelines. Do not sit on the sidelines. It is time to get into the game. I can get you in the game. And if you're somewhere else, I've got some of my team, not some of my team, I've got an amazing team that can get you into the game. Now is the time to strike. If you want to get into real estate, if you want to own something, now's the time to strike. I was talking to my husband about this loan. Hold on, I gotta look at my text. And it's really good to be an investor right now, for the record, because there are so many people that listen to the stupid press that they're just going to wait it out. So they're going to rent something and they're going to pay somebody else's rent while they wait for the market to crash so they can buy a house the cheapest and wait for interest rates to do the same thing. It's not how it works, people. Those rates start coming down, those house prices start going up. That's just how it works. It's a big old V. So the name of this loan is debt service coverage ratio. Debt service, so it's a DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. What does that mean? You can go buy an investment property any kind, well, single door, double, 2 doors, 3 doors, 4 doors, and it stops at 4 doors, just for the record. And if the rents cover the mortgage payment, you can get a loan on it. Now, it's a little bit more to it than that, but it's a pretty decent program. And I've got some smoking deals right now on some 4plexes. I've got a couple 6plexes and an 8plex that, my God, they're unbelievable. And what does that mean? That's 4 houses. That's 4 units under one roof. And the rents on that will more than pay for what the mortgage payment is. And you can qualify based on that as a first-time investor. Guys, there's just always a different angle to this real estate game. I've been playing it since 1997, I think, is when I got in the mortgage business. Took a detour in the car business. We all know that story. But I was still I still owned the mortgage company. I was still an investor through the whole thing. I've been through every market known to man. This one's exciting to me because I have money now to play in this market. I've got a real estate license. I've got a team. I'm looking at stuff all day, every single day. That's what I've been out doing today. Okay, I'm going to go over here and look at some comments now. Lacey, this is amazing. Yes, absolutely. Charles, Lisa speaks in assumable loans here, FHA, VA, correct. Yeah, and on the VA loans, on the assumables, again, you'll have to come up with the equity. Okay, again, Not every deal is this, not every deal is the same. And I'm going to tell you, the majority of the conventional loans, because of the due on sale clause, they are not, they're not assumable, but there are some that are. Okay. There are some that are. So just ask the questions, right? Work with a real estate agent who knows how to dig, who knows how to talk to sellers. If you're listing your house, work with an agent. Of course, you guys know I'm applying for the job if you're in Central Texas. But even if you're not in Central Texas, I've got people everywhere, every single place on planet Earth. I feel like I've got somebody on my team or somebody with my company. And that's the exciting part. But, don't quit. Now is the time where fortunes will be made. Now is the time where people will make more money than they've ever made. My good friend Grant Cardone talks about that, right? It's seizing the opportunity. And just a little fuel for thought here, okay, as I kind of wrap up. Hottest real estate market in the world, central to Austin, Texas, Central Texas, Texas, right? 21%. It was either 21 or 28%. Someone would have to fact check me on that because I've slept since I've heard this stat. NAR, National Association of Realtors, said it was either 21 or 28% of the homes purchased in the great state of Texas in 2021 were purchased by out-of-state investors, REITs, LLPs, whatever that looks like. And what does that mean? That means that they sold out, they cashed out their stock, they sold off other assets in other declining states, such as California, and they brought their money to Texas. Now, follow me. They brought their money to Texas and bought houses. Dallas got hit the hardest. I mean, it was something like 46% of houses. I mean, they came in and they bought entire neighborhoods at the height of the market. Why would they do that? Same house is 50,000 less today. Why were they not afraid of the height of the market? Because you will never lose money in real estate. If you hold it long enough, I don't know that any person on planet Earth has ever lost money. Now, you're going to go back and say to me, well, what happened in the housing bubble and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? If these people would have held on or could have held on, or they weren't fraudulent loans, they would have been okay. Because that house today is worth more than it was in 2008. They wouldn't have lost it. But there was all kinds of fraud going on. There was, you guys know the drill. I did not do any of those loans. I was in the mortgage industry then, and we chose not to do those loans. So I did not participate in that housing bubble. I was trying to, keep people on the straight and narrow. But that being said, you will never lose money in real estate. So investors and hedge funds and REITs and everybody are coming in at the height of the hottest market in the hottest states in the country and paying top dollar. They weren't waiting for it to fall, going, oh, this is not sustainable. It's going to crash. We're going to wait for it to crash. And then we're going to go drop $100 million into Dallas, Texas, or $1 billion into Dallas, Texas. Hell no. They said, you know what? We're going to go in now because this real estate in this hot market is way better than the earnings that we can get anywhere else, which is in the stock market and funds. And that's one of the reasons that the stock market went. Not the only reason, but one of the reasons, because it was a sell-off. People were selling off and moving their assets to real estate. Okay, so you've got to have that same investor mentality today. You can now get the same stuff that those people from around the country and around the world, do not kid yourself, these foreign investors are in here and they're buying up our country, okay, because they all see what a lot of consumers don't see. Because so many people are mired in fear that I'm just going to rent, I'm going to hunker down, I'm going to watch the market, I'm going to hit the bottom of the market. I'm just like, oh my God, please stop. Please. You're missing it. You're hunkered down and you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Your interest rate is 100%. You are not building an asset. You do not have an asset on your balance sheet. You have a liability, which is rent. You are not making, you have nothing that's appreciating. You're taking inflationary dollars that are just going down by the second and you're paying this other guy or gal's mortgage. Yeah, you're real smart. Sit there on that couch and pay that rent and just wait for the bottom of that market. And then hopefully interest rates will follow. Seriously, people, these are the conversations that not only myself, but every realtor in the country. And if you're a realtor out there, give me a thumbs up. Like if you have had these conversations with people before. I'm gobsmacked. And that's why I do these videos. If I can just hit one person, I don't care where you live. Or if you share this and send it to somebody, I can defend every single thing I have said on this video. I can defend every single comment I have made. Take me to task on it. I can defend it. It's the truth. So that being said, if you are renting or if you are looking to sell or buy, me and my team, we are applying for the job. We know what to do. We are ready. We are strategists. We're armed. We're smart. We know the market. And I've got people all over the country that I can refer you to that are as good as we are. Maybe not quite as good. No, I'm just kidding. But do not sit on the sidelines right now. Do not. I mean, if a 6.5% interest rate scares you, I don't even know what to say, except that I will tell you what I tell all my audiences that I speak to. In the absence of courage, do it scared. I wish Claudia Ann was on here right now. In the absence of courage, do it scared. In the absence of courage, as you're sitting there and you're frozen and you're like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end and we're going to have a stock market crash and oh, the real estate market's crashing and oh, the pandemic and all of that. Okay. As you're doing all of that, I want you to say to yourself, but you know what? In the absence of courage, I'm going to do it scared because I need to build an empire. And I'm not going to build an empire by paying rent on somebody else's investment property because I'm building their empire. That's what you're doing. And there's a whole game, y'all. There's a whole game, which that'll be a separate video because I will do a video talking to investors. I've been trained by the best on planet Earth, the best, Grant Cardone. I have been trained inside, upside down on the whole investor game. And let me tell you, the whole play to investment properties is that you want to raise the rents every single year, right? You want to raise the rents every single year. So if you're out there and you're renting, do not get complacent. Do not think, oh, well, I'm only paying $2,000 a month now. I'm gonna tell you, it is going up $2,200 next year, $2,400. It's the game. That is how I train my clients that get into the investment game. I'm like part of how you take out or you raise your NOI, your net operating income, and how you raise the value of your property. It isn't just what the dirt is worth. It is what the rent factors that you have are. So again, you're building somebody else's empire. If you're renting, you are building someone else's empire. I can show you how to build an empire. I can show you. I know what to do. I know what to do. I've done it. I've helped other people do it. And I know what to do. But you're never going to build an empire if you sit on the sidelines. So anyways, if you don't hate me by the end of this video and you have any questions, just reach out to me, Lisa@lisacopeland.com. And heed what I say, because I'm telling you, I can defend any comment I've made on this video. And it's absolutely the truth. And no, I don't have a crystal ball. And no, I'm not whatever, but I've been around long enough and I've seen election cycles and I've seen economy cycles. I've seen up, down. I've seen interest rates drop 2 points in a day because of not a natural disaster, but 9/11 or a pandemic or whatever. Like, I mean, we're just not immune to anything happening. And not that I want any of that to happen, but it's kind of part of life. So I'm not going to let any outside forces stop me from building generational wealth for me and my family. I'm not. And when I can buy something on sale, I'm going to buy it on sale. Real estate's a little bit on sale now, not because we've crashed, only because we have gone back to pre-pandemic prices. I'm going to buy it on sale. And as I say that, how many of you go out and you buy things and you're like, oh my God, I got to smoke a deal. And then you put it on a Visa or a MasterCard and the rate's 18% and you don't think anything of it. Okay, just get your mind around some of these things that I'm saying. If you've got a bunch of money sitting in a 401k, divert it into real estate. You can, that's another thing I can teach you, not for this video, but it's another thing I can show you how to do is to take that money and to put it into real estate. You'll never go wrong in real estate. That's one of the biggest reasons I made the pivot. Because I was like, cars depreciate, everything depreciates but real estate. We depreciate as people the older we get, right? But real estate goes up in value every single day. Every single day. You'll never lose real estate if you hold it long. You'll never lose money on real estate, no matter what you buy it for. As long as you can hold it throughout or outhold it through whatever crisis at hand is happening. So anyways, and then lastly, so you marry the house and you date the rate. Boy, you have to say that so carefully, so carefully. So what does that mean? You own the house, and then as soon as that rate drops, you dump that ugly girl or that ugly boy. You're like, bye, I'm gonna go get a new one with the interest rates. Okay. There's lots of different ways. Real quick, buy down with seller concession, adjustable rate mortgage, shorter term mortgage, take it to 15 years, take it to 20 years. 20 years is not going to lower your rate typically, but it lowers the amount of interest you pay over that term. Do a 2-1 buy down, ask the seller to pay it, make it a seller concession. That means you're going to start 2 points lower year 1 point lower year 2, year 3, it evens out. By then, like I said, I bet you rates are going to come down. Make a larger down payment, get that money out of the bank. Cash is trash. Put more equity into your house. Work with a mortgage broker, not a mortgage banker. I'm married to one of those, mortgage broker. All right, and improve your credit score. There's a big difference in interest rate and fees between a 720 and a 690. It's crazy, y'all. It's something like a half a point or 0.75 to the fee, right? And that's not to the rate, but that's a fee you'd have to pay because you didn't get your credit in line. So get your credit in line. And then last but not least, this is a bit more of a long stretch, but see if the seller's rate is assumable. If it's a conventional loan, it's probably got a due on sale clause, so it's probably not assumable. But an FHA and a VA loan very much are assumable. It just depends on how much equity they've got, and then you've got to decide if you want to put the cash into it. But there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. There's just a lot of ways to skin the cat. I can help you do that. I can help you think through it. My team can help you think through it. My husband can help you think through it. Roundrockmortgage.com. I'll put it up here. I founded that company, and it's great how I got all my domain names. I literally did them like 24 years ago. Sat at my old 5 houses ago, and I was like, I'm going to buy all these things called domain names. So I bought, like, if you live around here, I bought every city in Central Texas .com. I mean, I think the .coms from our company are worth probably more than our company. We have all kinds of offers on them. And I'm like, nope. I've got Pflugerville, Round Rock, Georgetown, Belton, Lake Travis. I'm missing a couple. Anyways, .com, mortgage.com. So guys and gals, I'm going to bow out. God, I've been ranting for 42 minutes and 39 seconds. I hope you found this valuable. I hope that whoever's working with you can help you. If they can't, give me a call. But today, right now, is the time that we can build an empire. We can build an empire. Empires are, this is when the money's made. Okay, when the chips are down and people are paralyzed and stifled in fear. This is when it happens, because the sharks, they're always out there. I consider myself a shark. I probably wasn't always a shark. I'm a shark now. I'm well trained. I'm well versed. I know what to do. And I have the money to go do it. So that's the position I want to help you guys and gals get into. All right. I want to take you to shark mode. And I'll end with this. In the absence of courage, do it scared. Get into the game.